Hi, my name is Katie Gray, and this is my presentation on evaluating formal, informal, culturally responsive, and accessible assessments and evaluations. First, we need to talk about the difference between assessments versus evaluations. Assessments are to improve the quality of future performances. It's process-oriented, it's formative, and it provides feedback of areas of improvement, as where evaluation is to determine the quality of the present performance. It is product-oriented, summative, and determines the extent of achievement. Types of assessments: summative, formative, self-assessment, peer assessment, essays, and exams. Importance of assessment: determine whether or not the goals of education are being met. It provides feedback to the students as well as the teachers based on what the students are grasping and what they are not. It helps the teachers set their standards, evaluates their students' progress, relates to students' progress, and motivates student and teacher performance. Culturally responsive assessment is extremely important. They scaffold teaching to what students already know, have students share stories, use students' personal experiences, build relationships with students. If you teach culturally responsively, you are more likely to have better results. Students are able to understand concepts when you apply it to what they know and their life. Ineffective assessment, standardized tests, teaching to the test, allow for real-world application. That is how to be effective assessments. A lot of assessments, like I was saying earlier, is not real-world application, and students are way more likely to grasp a concept if it applies to them. So in order not to have ineffective assessments, allow for that real-world application. And same thing with critical thinking. So critical thinking is not ineffective, but not including critical thinking is ineffective for assessments. Students' well-being. There is an increase in student mental illness. Schools provide students with resilience, communication, and aspirations. Schools more than just academics. We need to build relationship with students, as I mentioned earlier. We need to have a positive classroom climate and culture. And all of this will change students' perspectives of testing and assessments in general. Having parent involvement is really beneficial. A good school community and doing what we can to decrease bullying. A lot of it is happening outside of school, at least at my school. So teaching students how to be good people. So then back to being teaching more than just academics, trying to reduce that bullying for students' well-being. Reflection, the assessment used in my district is state standardized tests and FastBridge. Building assessments, there's no requirements other than standardized tests for teachers. Formative and summative assessments are given in all classes throughout each unit, but there's no requirement in how teachers do this or how often they do. Gaps, we don't have an assessment plan, like I just said. I think that would be beneficial to have our students be taking tests and different kinds of assessments and studying for tests the same way, because I think that would give them a better perspective of test taking in general. How does assessment help determine the quality of our curriculum? Standardized tests, we can compare our school to other middle schools and middle schools in the state to see how we're doing and how our students are doing. Teachers can use to determine where they are effective. The only problem I have with this is if you are trying to have a culturally responsive classroom, the state assessments are not culturally responsive standardized tests. How often are assessments evaluated to find gaps? Depends on the teachers. Administrators do not evaluate tests. We're actually working on this right now in our school by unpacking our standards, and we have a big push to work with our counterpart and look at projects and homework and tests. Right now we're focusing on like those assessment tests and seeing where the big gaps are and if it's the same between hallways or if it is a teaching, like maybe I did not hit a certain spot as well as my counterpart, and then working together to figure out how we can increase our teaching on different topics. How culturally responsive are our assessments? Minimal. We do not have a lot of different cultures, race, or low socioeconomic families. I don't think it matters if you have minimal different types of cultures and races. I think no matter what, we should be more culturally responsive. Um, I do think that we are getting better at teaching to this new generation and that type of culture, but in terms of different like races and low socioeconomic families, we do not do a lot to teach culturally to them. And here is my references. Thank you very much for your time and enjoy your day.